Alright, at times I feel like there are just so many guys getting tossed out there in the trade world that it's tough to keep track. So even though this is an idea that's already been out there for a few days, I wanted to go out there and make a video talking about the Calgary Flames and defenseman Noah Hanifin. Because it's been no secret that Hanifin, who is a former top pick, former Carolina Hurricanes guy, current Calgary Flames guy, big dude, 6'3", 216 left-handed defenseman signed till the end of this season making $4.95 million, it's been no secret that because of his entire career path, because he has been a pretty good player the past few years, and because it's not certain that he's actually going to re-sign and stay with the Calgary Flames, he's one of these guys that has been tossed around there in rumors alongside of Chris Tanev, formerly Nikita Zadorov. You've got other guys who had already been traded, like Tyler Toffoli. It's kind of a meltdown with the Calgary Flames and their trade situation. So, because Hanifin has been on the market for a while, we had ourselves a few updates about teams that are going out there and potentially inquiring about his services. We've had the same teams pop up here and there. Oh, would the Toronto Maple Leafs be involved here? Oh, would the Devils want to maybe get another defenseman? Oh, is there a team like the Oilers that's looking for defense, etc., etc., etc.? But in this video, we're going over two teams that are apparently really in the mix for Hanifin, and one team that he actually apparently would want to go to. The choice that has been revealed to us on, where was this? 960 Sports Talk Radio, I'm pretty sure. Let's go over on to, firstly, a tweet made by NHL Watcher going over what Elliotte Friedman said on the recent 32 Thoughts podcast from the 4th. Take a look at this. Friedman is talking about the Arizona Coyotes here. They've shown an interest in adding this year. They've kicked the tires on Hanifin, more than kicked the tires on Hanifin. They were interested. Now, upon immediate inspection, you might say, okay, wait a minute, what the hell? The Arizona Coyotes are involved in Hanifin? Why? Isn't this a rebuilding team? Aren't they on the up and up? Aren't they still at the bottom of the barrel? No, they're not actually. In fact, the Coyotes are in a wildcard spot. They're in the first wildcard spot, for crying out loud. They've won 5 in a row. They're over 500. They have a pretty good stranglehold on the wildcard since Calgary is so much further down there. And the Coyotes are a legit team this year. They're above the Blues in the standings. Now, I didn't have the Arizona Coyotes actually being good this year on my bingo card, but because this is a team that is considerably young, because they do have a lot of pieces for the future, and because they could be looking to explore the potential of being a playoff team within the short-term future, I mean, it does make sense, the idea that they'd want to go out there and get guys who can compete, who can be good for a while. Noah Hanifin's 26 years old. He was a 2015 draftee, so he's definitely not old, but he's definitely not young either. He's not a rookie, for crying out loud. So for the Arizona Coyotes to go out there and actually take a look at Hanifin, it makes sense. Now, I don't know what it is the Arizona Coyotes would be interested in trading away, what kind of assets are there. You could talk about maybe, I don't know, Matt Dumba seems to be the guy everybody links everybody to, but would the Calgary Flames actually see value in that? Who really knows? There are probably some draft picks, probably some prospects the Arizona Coyotes have because they've got a lot of those pieces. So if there's any future that the Calgary Flames would like to attend to with some sort of a Hanifin trade, then hey, maybe Arizona is your team to go out there and shop with. But at the end of the day, firstly, the Coyotes being involved in these conversations makes a lot of sense, more than would meet the eye at first glance. And I'm really intrigued as to seeing where this is going to go, because of course Arizona is just one team of many. Everybody's talking about Toronto, everybody's talking about all these other teams, but if Arizona could somehow squeak in there, as Elliotte Friedman said, they are very legitimately interested, I would like to see that timeline play itself out. Let's see a Calgary Flames Arizona Coyotes trade where a few really good prospects head over to Calgary and help out that team's pool. But we also have ourselves another team that I wanted to talk about, and this one is a little bit more serious. We're going over onto an article on NHLTradeTalk.com from December 5th, because what they did was they talked about an appearance made by Renaud Lavoie of TVA Sports on Sportsnet 960. Take a look at the title of this article. Hanifin trade rumors intensify, but his link to the Boston Bruins is posing issues. Noah Hanifin trade rumors are picking up, but a link to the Bruins is posing issues for other teams, says insider Renaud Lavoie. Take a look at the opening paragraph here on this piece. A few teams have been linked to trade talk involving Calgary Flames defenseman Noah Hanifin. The latest is the Arizona Coyotes, who join a list of teams that have included the Islanders and the Bruins. But a wrinkle has been added to the speculation as one insider suggests that Hanifin knows where he wants to go, and other teams are scrambling trying to figure out how to deal. Speculation surrounding a potential Hanifin trade has resurfaced this week, but according to insider Renaud Lavoie, the Flames may be running low on suitable landing spots. During a recent interview on Sportsnet Radio, Lavoie highlighted that teams may be hesitant to pursue the impending UFA because of his strong desire to play for Boston. Renaud Lavoie points out that Hanifin's availability on the trade market has been a recurring theme for the past 2 years. However, the major obstacle lies in his clear preference for joining the Bruins and only signing there long term. It was said the defenseman was open to a deal in Calgary, but with both sides pivoting, Lavoie suggests it's Boston or bust. Now pause for a second before we continue with the article and read on what Lavoie has to say here. The idea of Hanifin going over to Boston is not a new one. Ever since the guy was drafted, everybody was saying, oh, this is a Massachusetts boy, he wants to play for the Bruins, or he likes the Bruins. And then he got drafted by Carolina, so not really the same. But the first time Hanifin was included in rumors, everybody was talking about the Bruins. Oh, he'd want to go to the Bruins. He wants to play in Boston. This is a classic one of these cases where the homegrown American guy would prefer to play with his homegrown American team. Not in Calgary, necessarily. And so, with this idea in mind, it's very similar, actually. It reminds me a lot of the Pierre-Luc Dubois situation from last year and beyond, where everybody was saying that PLD would only sign with Montreal. He'd only want to go long-term with the Habs. So if you're trading for him, you're only trading for him for 1 season or so before he yeets off to Montreal in UFA status. There is some sort of a scare here that is happening with Hanifin. Which is fair. I mean, you could say, hey, he's only signed until 23-24 anyway, so you could consider a Hanifin trade as a rental trade. But at the same time, as we had said, he's young enough, 26 years old, to the point where if you could get an extension done, you want to get that done. Hanifin is a good player. He's a defensive beast. He blocks shots. He does the right things in his own zone, and he gets some points once in a while. But of course, if there is a very strong desire and preference to play for Boston, unwavering in the face of any negotiations with other teams, then you could understand why this would be seen as a problem if you're trading for Hanifin and you actually want to sign him long-term. Renaud Lavoie goes on to explain that this knowledge of Hanifin wanting to stay in Boston has created a situation where other teams are reluctant to make a move. It's one thing to trade for a rental if the price is reflective of him being a rental. It's another to give up a ton of assets knowing there's no shot to extend him. Only Boston would make that trade. And then one has to wonder if they would press to make a move, considering they can sign him this summer. Only if Boston feels he's a piece of their playoff puzzle would they pull the trigger. Even then, they have leverage. So with this idea in mind, I mean, look, it is from a few days ago, so you could say that this is sort of outdated. I mean, things move fast in the hockey world, right? Even though this article was published literally within the past 2 days, you could say that it may be outdated by the time the next Toronto Maple Leafs rumor comes up. But for Boston and Hanifin, this has been one of these matchups that everybody says is inevitable. It's going to happen. Like, at least once in Hanifin's career, he's going to put on that gold and yellow sweater because he wants to be a Bruin. Maybe sometime when he's at the end of his career, maybe sometime sooner than that, whatever, but it's always been a link that has existed. And the funny part is, Noah Hanifin is not one of these, like, top-of-the-line, absolute superstar caliber players to where if he did go home, it would seem unrealistic. Like, I know everybody talks about, oh, Stamkos going to Toronto, John Tavares going to Toronto, but these are, like, top-of-the-crop kind of guys. Noah Hanifin is, like, in that Dubois territory, where everybody said, okay, yeah, he's, like, good enough that most teams would want to go out there and probably get him, but he's not amazing to the point that there's no leverage for any other team. Hanifin already being in a position where he is on the block, everybody's talking about Hanifin trade rumors, because there are already a bunch of other teams like Arizona that are involved in this quite heavily, it would be sort of realistic for him to say, yeah, well, he has his preference, and if he doesn't want to sign anywhere else other than Boston, then sorry, Arizona, but you're just crap out of luck. Like, this is not your fault. It's just kind of how it is. The guy wants to be a Bruins. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. If you're an Arizona Coyotes fan or a Boston Bruins fan, how do you feel about the entire Noah Hanifin trade conversation with the Calgary Flames? How does it make you feel knowing that the Coyotes are involved? They are one of many teams involved. The Islanders, you could say, are there. But for Boston, seems like you guys are the favorites. How do you feel about that? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.